Smile. Today I thought I'd talk about the unsolved murder of a famous card player called Joseph Bowne Elwell. This occurred way back into 1920. This may be the oldest case I've covered on my channel. If you're interested in videos such as this, I do have a playlist, I will link it down below. But other than that, let's get right into it. Joseph was born in New Jersey on the 24th of February, 1873. His nickname was Joe, and he started off his life being a middle-class salesman. During the 1900s and the 1910s, Joe went on to become a tutor, a writer, and famous bridge card player. He was described as being a charmful and lovely man. His charm is what got him into an all-men's club which also held card games, and he went on to become a famous card player. He was a regular winner in money clubs and people knew of him, but he wasn't as famous yet. He ended up meeting a woman while playing cards by the name of Helen Derby. He went on to soon date her and marry her. And Helen, because she was a socialite, ended up making her husband at the time way more famous as a writer. Though he also went on to become a famous card player, gaining the nickname the Bridge King of Manhattan. Like I said before, he also was a tutor. I don't know what he was tutoring, but he was tutoring something, I'll say. Helen loved card games just like Joseph did. Joseph went on to become so famous and well known that he ended up buying his own property on Palm Beach in Florida, a yacht, which is a boat, 20 horses and 5 cars. So he was living the life. He and his wife Helen soon had a son named Richard. However, Joseph went on to become a known womanizer. With him being a tutor, most of the girls he slept with were his students who were really young. Joseph went on to have many flings with these girls and one-night stands. During the time was a huge scandal, and it was seen and heard of through the newspapers. Obviously, Joseph's wife Helen found out about this, and in 1916 she took her son Richard away from Joseph and was filing for separation. Then by 1920, Helen was negotiating a divorce, so things were not looking great with their marriage. But at the end of the day, Joseph is sleeping with probably minors and is cheating on his wife. Now let's talk about Joseph's murder. So on the morning of the 11th of June 1920, Joseph's housekeeper, Marie, let herself into the apartment that was locked. She just let herself in, she had her own keys. It was a completely normal day up until she arrived at the living room door, which was locked from the inside. To her shocking surprise, she saw what she thought was a toothless, pale man, a stranger, sitting in Elwell's chair in his apartment in the living room with a neatly folded newspaper on his lap. Upon further observation, Maria noticed that this stranger had been shot in the head and he was very pale. He had been shot with a .45 automatic weapon. Upon viewing this man, Marie had no idea who it was. She didn't recognise this man at all. She screamed, left the apartment and stopped a stranger passing by Elwell's apartment, and the police were immediately called. Once police arrived at Elwell's apartment, they searched it and confirmed that this stranger was in fact Joseph Elwell. And get this, he was still alive. He was immediately rushed to a hospital where he later died at age 45 or 46. While he was being rushed to hospital, police questioned him. What happened to you? Who did this? He was so weak, and obviously he's been shot in the head. He's unable to talk. He couldn't say a word of who did this. During the investigation and during the search of Elwell's apartment, some really weird things were found. Police believe that the murder weapon was fired at Joseph from a distance up to 3 to 5 feet. To know Joseph's whereabouts of the night before he was murdered, police retraced his steps. The night before he was murdered, he was seen at the Ritz-Carlton Hotel with formerly divorced woman who he was romantically involved with, named Viola Crass. I find it odd that Joseph was found in the living room with the door locked from the inside. That's really weird. The police were obviously questioning everyone that knew Joseph. Like, did you see anyone leave the building? Did you see anyone leave his room? All witnesses say they didn't see anything and don't report ever seeing anyone entering or leaving Joe's room. Investigators and police came to the conclusion that Joseph was obviously aware that he was about to get shot because there was no sign of a struggle. The creepiest detail of all is that a single bullet was placed on the table in front of Joseph. This murder was obviously personal, and Joseph most likely knew his killer. The cartridge that held the bullet was later found on the floor, but there was no sign of a gun, and nor has it ever been found. Because Joseph had been shot directly in the head, there was obviously blood splatters all over the room. From the blood splatters, investigators came to the conclusion that whoever shot Joseph had to have been crouched down in front of him of a distance 3 to 5 feet and shot him. Just my personal thought, but Joseph obviously knew his killer. He's not just going to let a stranger into his house. The police found more confusing things, specifically in Joseph's own apartment. Police ruled out the possibility of this being a robbery because valuable items, a lot of money and Rembrandts were in the house but were not taken. After Joseph's murder, police searched his home and found a collection of women's underwear of the women that Joseph had slept with. Creepy much. And not just that, police also found a love list with up to 50 women's names on it, with notes about them on it, including phone numbers. The police interviewed all 50 women that were on this love list, though all of them turned out to be innocent. Joseph's ex-wife, Helen Derby, quickly became a prime suspect, but soon was also ruled out as a suspect because she had a very solid alibi. After this, the case went cold and there was no leads, no clues, no suspects, not a single one. There was no sign of forced entry and there was no fingerprints found that were not of Joseph's or Marie's in the apartment. Honestly, I do think this is a really odd case, but I mean, I'm just questioning why the hell, Joseph, you would have women's underwear in your friggin' apartment. What, just a collection of them? What? That's quite creepy, okay? Get your shit together. Just saying. There's a high possibility that the killer could be female or male. I'm leading to it being a male. As for who did this, no one knows. Can I just say, Joseph had a lot of enemies. He slept with a lot of women, most of them were students. Most of the women he slept with were married. Here's my theory. I think a really pissed off husband or a dad found out that their daughter or wife was having a one-time fling with Joseph and just lost their shit. This dad or husband probably worked with Joseph and knew him. That's the best I've got. Just honestly, this case remains unsolved, plus the technology back then was not as good as it is now. But that is all I have today. Leave your comments down below. Who do you think killed him? What are your theories? Thanks for watching and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!